Welcome back to another session of C4S classes where we'll be discussing descriptive question relevant for RBI examination. So the question for today's session is discuss the key outcomes of COP28. How do these outcomes reflect the challenges and opportunities in addressing climate change at the international level? So before discussing the answer, let's look at some key points on COP28. So this summit took place in UAE. All right. Secondly, this was the first summit which officially recognized that fossil fuels are the root cause of climate change. So this is the first summit that is officially recognizing this fact. All right. So in this summit, the countries agreed for a transitioning away. This phrase is important. Transitioning away rather than completely phasing out. So developed countries were favoring that we should have an agreement which emphasize on phasing out. But developing countries, including India, uh, had their focus that there should be transitioning away from fossil fuels because fossil fuels are still required for their economic growth. All right. And the third key point is establishment of loss and damage fund. And 700 million was pledged for this fund. So this fund will be utilized to support countries with climate related disasters or who have suffered climate related disasters. So let's discuss the answer of this question. Okay. So here we'll first start with the introduction itself that the COP28 was held in Dubai. Okay. And after the brief introduction about the summit, where it took place, we can move on to the body. So first, we will be discussing the key outcomes of COP28. So in first, we will be discussing COP28's key outcome. The first one outcome was the acknowledgement of fossil fuels. So COP28 officially recognized fossil fuels are the root cause of climate change. And this is significant because fossil fuels were only first mentioned in climate change agreement in 2021 at COP26 in Glasgow. In COP26, it was only mentioned there, but this in this summit, it is officially recognized that these are one of the root causes for climate change. Next is transition away from fossil fuels. Okay, so countries agreed that they should transition away from fossil fuels in a orderly and equitable manner, aiming to achieve net zero emission by 2050. Here, thing needs to be mentioned that for India, net zero emission target is 2070 and 2060 is for China. All right. So the language of the agreement emphasized a transition away rather than a complete phase out, which left some participants disappointed. These participants were mostly developed countries. Okay. Third one is loss and damage fund. So establishment of loss and damage fund took place in this summit with 700 million pledged. Okay. For countries affected by climate related disasters. So this is a positive development, but it falls short of the estimated 400 billion. So 400 billion is what needed for climate related disasters all over the world. But the pledge amount is very less as compared to what is actually required. Okay. Next one is commitment to renewable energy. So countries pledge to triple renewable energy capacity and double energy efficiency by 2030. So this commitment represents a significant milestone for reducing dependence on fossil fuels and expanding the use of cleaner energy sources. Next one is green hydrogen initiatives. So industries pledge to scale up zero emission fuel derived from renewable based hydrogen to 11 million tons. So these milestones can be remembered and added in the answers. Okay. This would give some weight to your answer. So this focus on green hydrogen presents opportunity for sustainable energy solutions and a cleaner energy future. Next thing is a global stock take was taken place. That means whether to check whether the world is on track to meet our target of one limiting global warming by 1.5 degrees Celsius. And it was realized that the world is not on track. Okay. So this assessment highlights the urgency of increasing efforts to reduce emissions and keeping global warming within acceptable limits. Okay. Now we'll be discussing the challenges and the opportunities. So in challenges, first one is the lack of strong language. So as we discussed that the agreement talks about transitioning away rather than completely phase out. So it is a lack of strong language. That means they have lower ambitions of reducing the fossil fuel usage. Okay. And this can be considered as an intentional loophole, allowing for the continued usage of fossil fuels with carbon capture and storage. So insufficient funding for the loss and damage fund. Okay. So only 700 million is pledged against the need of 400 billion. So there is a huge difference between what is needed and what is being pledged. And third is the need for greater ambition and concrete actions to meet the 1.5 degree warming limit. So stock take took place, and there we found that world is not on track. So this becomes one of the challenges. Okay. Now, what are the opportunities? So recognition of fossil fuels as the root cause of climate change provides a foundation for more targeted actions in future COPs. Commitments to renewable energy and green hydrogen initiatives present opportunities for sustainable energy solutions and transitioning to a low carbon economy. Third one is the global stocktake serves as a reality check. Okay. And a call for action for countries to strengthen their commitments and efforts to combat climate change. Now that we have discussed the key outcomes as well as the challenges and opportunities for COP28. Now we'll be concluding our answer by highlighting that the COP28 highlighted that the need for increased ambition and collaboration to tackle climate change effectively. So international community must work together to overcome these challenges and seize opportunities for a sustainable future. So that completes our answer. That's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.